afternoon and welcome to the Humidor Report. Justin here from Beaumont's very own Cigar Club. A little different this week. We're actually shooting on our back table. And the reason for that is because the front table is still set up for our Los Statos Deluxe Alec Bradley Room 101 Forged Golf Bag giveaway. That's running. The end of that is coming up. It's just through the 31st. So through the end of the month, we're going to draw that prize on the 31st. So all you have to do is buy any two cigars from between Alec Bradley, Los Statos Deluxe, and Room 101 to get your ticket in the hat to win that $350 Los Statos Deluxe branded Callaway golf bag. So if you haven't gotten in on that yet, time is running out. Come in this week and get that done because that drawing is coming up on the 31st. Now, what we are going to talk about today is actually something very new, and I do mean very, very new to the industry, as in it's a pretty new company. And what we're talking about here is El Mago Cigars. It's going to be these 4 boxes that we've got sit here, all the bright colors. You kind of can't miss them, and everything in these nice fancy tubes. We're going to tell you a little bit about this brand, the story, and where it came from, and a little bit about the tobacco itself, so you can come by and see what is happening with this new brand is for yourself here in the days to come. Now, El Mago was founded in 2022 by 23-year-old Nick Fusco to honor his grandparents Maria and Gonzalo. In fact, the name Mago, it actually translates to the magician, but it is a little portmanteau of their names. The Mago is Maria and Gonzalo, not unlike Roma Craft, which is Rosales and Martin is where you get your Roma. The Maria and Gonzalo Torre was the name of Nick's grandparents. They have a fascinating story that took them all over the world throughout their lives, meeting in Czechoslovakia after Gonzalo fled Cuba. The two then immigrated to Canada. They lived in Venezuela, and they eventually settled in Miami, where they actually bought a hotel by the name of the James, and the couple owned that hotel for the remainder of their life. Now, unfortunately, Maria and Gonzalo were both victims of the 2001 collapse of the Champlain Towers that happened in Surfside, Florida. And it was about a year or so, right at a year after that disaster that claimed their lives, where Nick came up with the idea with this brand to honor his grandparents. If you can see the logos here, it might be a little hard to see in the video, but what you've got here is a picture of the James Hotel. It's a little boutique motel there in southern Florida, and it is his grandparents standing in front of that hotel. Not only is it on the boxes themselves, but it's also on the tubes. As you can see here are the ones that I have in my pocket. The entire line is tubed, and I've never seen anybody do that before. Again, Mago, as I said, the combination of their names and the cigars themselves are actually made at Miguel Pinto's MGE cigar factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. So they are Nicaraguan-made cigars, and we do have 4 of them. Now, the 2 oldest of the 4 that we have are going to be the Miami Art Deco edition and the Miami Maduro. Now, the Art Deco has an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper on it, a broadleaf binder, and all Nicaraguan filler, whereas its Maduro counterpart is a San Andreas Maduro wrapper, a Sumatra binder, and all the filler tobacco coming from Esteli. Now, I believe it was maybe March of 23 is when they released El Cubano, the one you see with the very distinct Cuban flag stylings to the band here. Now, El Cubano is actually the cigar that drew our interest in bringing these in here to Cigar Club Texas and Cigar Club Lake Charles. So the El Cubano was actually created, I believe, April of 23 is when it was released. This is a U.S. grown Connecticut shade wrapper, but Half Wheel describes it as a destapado Connecticut wrapper, which all I can find on destapado means uncovered. So if they're somehow growing a shade leaf without shade, without the cheesecloths, that could explain an uncovered designation on that wrapper. But it is U.S. grown Connecticut wrapper, a Honduran binder, and Esteli tobaccos for your filler. Now, the Renegade comes in this nice, pretty bright orange square tube. These are actually an 8-count box on this. It is an oval press Maduro cigar with San Andreas Maduro, San Andreas Maduro wrapper, Habano binder, and Nicaraguan filler tobacco on that one. Now, this one is so new, the Renegade, it is not even featured on their website yet. I had to go do a little digging around to get some info on this and the history of this. Now, this one is the fullest body of the bunch. One thing I will say about, for sure, the Miami and the El Cubanos is these are pretty easygoing cigars compared to most of what's new and coming to the market these days. But despite even how easygoing that El Cubano Connecticut is, it was such a remarkably good Connecticut that our owner just could not resist bringing them in for both stores. I just tried El Cubano myself yesterday, and I've got to admit, it is one of the nicest to the touch Connecticut wrappers I've come across. And great flavor. Doesn't get too two-dimensional. It doesn't get too mild. It stays interesting, but still staying incredibly smooth and getting rid of some of those rougher edges or some of those flinty or papery notes that you can get from some Connecticut's. Such a good Connecticut that we had to bring it in and check it out for ourselves, see what we think, and see what you guys and gals think when you come in and check out El Mago Cigars, now here on the shelves at Cigar Club Southeast Texas and Cigar Club in Lake Charles. So that's going to wrap us up for this week's edition of the Humidor Report. Remember to like and subscribe, turn on your notifications for the channel here so you can stay up to date with what is hip and happening here at Cigar Club. We will be back with you next week, same time, same place, and until then, I'm Justin, and we'll see you at the club.